So let's have a chat with director of 2012, Roland Emmerich, as well as actors John Cusack, Thandie Newton, and Chiwetel Ejiofor? I have to find out how to pronounce his name.
And I think you get asked this a lot, but how do we pronounce your full name?
My name is pronounced Chiwetel.
Chiwetel.
Ejiofor.
I totally enjoyed your character in Serenity.
Great.
As the agent. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah,
and you know, here you are, instead of a killer, you are someone who's a scientist and a good guy.
Yeah.
Which role do you prefer?
Well, they're both very interesting. You know, this, in Serenity, the operative was a great character to play and mean, and but in there was a little bit of a heart somewhere in there. But this character is very different. This character is a character who has these great moral problems, with what's happening, and is faced with these huge cataclysmic events that are occurring all around the world. And it's a time of great stress, and it's fraught with all this, with disaster, and somehow these characters have to be very heroic within the context of that, and still try and keep some semblance of order amongst the hysteria and chaos that these events ensue.
Do you think you would have made a better president than Danny Glover? I mean, Lethal Weapon, 1 to 4. You're younger. You look more like President Obama.
I think he makes an exceptional president. Yeah, and I would follow Danny Glover anywhere. So I think he works incredibly well as the commander-in-chief.
You play the everyman and the unlikely hero a lot, and it looks like this in this movie you do that as well. Mm-hmm. What is this character about?
Well, he's a character who's trying to keep his family together, trying to reconcile his family, and then the movie happens to him.
Looks like a lot of movie happens to him.
A lot of movie happens to him.
It seems like disaster movies seem to be happening a lot in the US. Like they seem to center around the US. I mean, after all the movies I've seen so far, America Saves the Day, and it starts in America almost.
Yeah. Well, I think the film actually starts in America, but it actually goes very global, and that's why I think there's so much excitement about it worldwide, because there's it starts in America, but then it goes to Hawaii, and then it goes to China, and then it goes to Africa. It sort of goes all over.
Was it physically demanding to do this movie?
Yeah, it definitely was.
Why? Because there's so much CG.
But you still have to have the actors running through it, and you still have to have. So sometimes an action movie is never. You can always do something once or twice,
right?
Or 3 times is just if you have to do it 17 times. And you're having to do a full sprint and maybe pretend like you're falling, you can definitely pull some muscles, and there's a lot of moving parts and machinery, and it's always about what happens when you have to do it for the 14th time. So that's how. So you have to be careful, and you're always in high places, and you can fall. Things it's a little bit trickier than you might think.
So Roland, this is a movie with a gazillion special effects.
Yeah.
Which one was the hardest to do?
I would say there was not one was the hardest. It was just the amount of difficult shots we had to do, the big amount. I mean, we had probably 900 really difficult shots, which is very difficult, because I always, before, always said, when you have 600-700 effects, only do 200 or 300 hard ones, otherwise you will fail. And this time, we had a little more time, we had a little more money, and this time also we created everything in the computer, and so we planned it very well, and I think the result is very good.
And this time, you're talking about money, you had way more budget compared to Day After Tomorrow, which I enjoyed.
Day After Tomorrow was roughly a budget of 135.
Right.
This was 205.
Still significant.
205.
What's the difference between then having this extra money? More spectacular effects?
Yeah, it was like that. I think the movie needed that, because we have the movie is in essence a movie about a flood. Yeah. So the whole last act is only about arcs in stormy waters in the Himalaya. Right? It's already sounds really big, and before that, there's all these disasters which leads to the global flood. And that means, there was actually visual effects for 2 movies.
And critics seem to be harsh on some of your movies, and yet they make a lot of money, right? Do you think critics are going to be favorable with 2012, or does it even matter?
I think they will like this one better because I think it has more like a component, what my other movies don't have. They're like kind of more, I think they go deeper into the characters, and they're like kind of, there's like kind of a whole side to the film which constantly discusses, the morale of the people who know that this disaster happens and don't tell the people, and they're like trouble with their, conscience.
I enjoyed the challenge that working on a big movie, a big special effects movie like this can bring. I never really knew what kinds of acting styles I would have to use. 1 minute I'm working with blue screen, the next minute I'm doing a very intimate, just realistic natural scene with Chiwetel, and then I'll be doing another scene where we have huge water special effects and we're having to really recreate the drama, although the drama is happening all around us because they're actually managing to recreate a tidal wave down a corridor. So it was much more about trying to stay focused in the midst of all these different, technical experiments. So that was the challenge, and it was something I really enjoyed. It was like learning all over again. And particularly with Roland, he seems to be at the forefront of what they're able to achieve. And I remember him telling me at the beginning of the shoot that he wanted to create set pieces that have never been seen before. And I said to him here at the press junket, it's like, what else can you blow up now? You've done everything.
Exactly.